Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Black Rose Dragon Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for post-Doom of Dimensions. We got some awesome new support in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set for the Black Rose Dragon deck, including a new retrain of the original monster in the form of Bramble Rose Dragon, still taking on the effects for the destruction power that Black Rose Dragon can cause, including a new retrain for Black Garden, and also some new main deck monsters to use in the deck as well. So definitely excited to update the actual deck with some of the changes made. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. Starting with the main deck monsters, we're running 3 copies of the new Vengeful Witch. If you control Black Rose Dragon, a monster that mentions it, or a plant synchro monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If it's sent to the graveyard and a synchro monster is on the field, you can discard 1 card to special summon 1 plant monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon from the X deck for the rest of this turn, except for synchro monsters. You can only use this effect of Vengeful Witch once per turn, but it's just a good setup for additional plant monsters on the field, just needing the requirements of a Black Rose Dragon or one of the many different types of monsters that we run in the deck to be able to special summon it out onto the field. And then the sent to the graveyard option is to go off of the fact if Black Rose Dragon does destroy it for its own card effect as well, having the discard to special summon another card to then use from the deck also. For the actual Rose Dragons, we're running 3 copies of Red Rose Dragon. If it's sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can special summon 1 Rose Dragon monster from your hand or deck, except for Red Rose Dragon. And if it's sent to the graveyard for the synchro summon of Black Rose Dragon or a plant synchro, you can also add 1 Frozen Rose or 1 Blooming of the Darkest Rose from your deck to your hand. So giving you options to search out Frozen Rose on top of just being able to then go into additional Rose monsters is a big consistency play with Red Rose Dragon, and then being able to set up those other spells to use as well. 3 copies of Rox Rose Dragon as well, with Rox Rose and Red Rose both acting as the tuner monsters for a good number of our plays as well. The original monster, Vengeful Witch, was the level 4 non-tuner, so then it just gives you the setup for more special summonings for the non-tuners. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 card that specifically lists Black Rose Dragon and its text from your deck to your hand, except for Rox Rose Dragon. While this card's in your graveyard, if a face-up Rose Dragon or a plant synchro you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can add this card to your hand, giving you the add back power and then the additional search power for the additional monsters to our hand. Just once again adds to the consistency search to be able to set up our bigger Rose Dragons on the field. With the last of the Rose Dragons that we run being 2 copies of White Rose Dragon. When this card's normal summon, you can special summon 1 Rose Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard, except for White Rose Dragon. You can use this effect of White Rose once per turn. If you control a Dragon Tuner or a Plant Tuner, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard as single material, you can send 1 level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to the graveyard. So then the additional plant setup can help for the use of some of our other tuners in the deck also. For the level 4 or higher plant monsters also, we can also set up cards like Vengeful Witch in the graveyard using our White Rose Dragon to be able to do so for the level 4 or higher plant monsters to then summon out. And one of the other newer monsters we run being the Twilight Rose Black Knight. While you control a single monster, plant monsters you control gain 1000 attack. You can use each of the following effects of Twilight Rose Knight once per turn. If this card's normal or special summon, you can special summon 1 Black Rose Dragon or 1 level 4 or lower plant monster from your graveyard, but negate its effects. You can target 1 other plant monster you control, increase or decrease its level by 1, giving you level adjustment, but also just being able to summon back some of our resources from the graveyard, including Black Rose Dragon, to then be able to use that monster to then go into some of the other synchro plays like Ruddy Rose Dragon, using this card and Black Rose Dragon for the summon. And then also running the Bysteel engine, just a 1-of count for each of the main Bysteel monsters, since the good majority of the monsters we mentioned are dark attributes, so they can be banished for the cost of these monsters, and then work well with the level 1 plant engine that we run to then go into additional synchro plays. And then also for more of the plant engine, 3 copies of Lone Fire Blossom. This card doesn't have too many targets, but the targets that it can summon out are very, very good. Just having the tribute, you can summon out another Lone Fire in turn to get into our main tuners, which are Glow Bulb, fresh off the ban list, and the Spore as well for the level adjustment and special summon that you can use with Spore and the Lone Fire Blossom, and then Glow Bulb being able to set up other cards in the graveyard for the mill to special also. And then for our hand trap lineup, we're going with the 2 Ghost Ogre and the 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Just seeing a lot of play with Ghost Ogre having destruction options for some of the cards that our opponent may use, depending on the activated card, and then Ash Blossom being able to restrict as well. If you wanted to run Foolos, you can always try dropping down the Ghost Ogres for copies of the special summon hand trap. For the spells, we do want to run the 3 copies of Black Rose Garden, just have the 1 copy currently, but it's definitely a 3 of. When it's activated, you can add 1 Rose Dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. All face-up monsters on the field become plant monsters, and if this card is destroyed, inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each plant monster in your graveyard and or banishment. If this card is destroyed by a card effect or Black Rose Dragon, inflict 2400 damage to your opponent. You can only use this effect of Black Rose Garden once per turn, and you can only activate 1 per turn as well. But that's why we run the 3, so we always have the additional search, giving you the additional burn power when destroyed by Black Rose Dragon, which is also pretty much a guarantee as well, using this card with our other additional Rose monsters. And then also the additional Rose support cards include 2 copies of Frozen Rose. Send 1 face-up monster you control to the graveyard to apply this effect, depending on the type it had. If it was a plant during the end phase, draw 2 cards and discard 1, or a non-plant, add 1 level 4 lower plant monster from your deck to your hand. So search power as well, being able to grab cards like Lone Fire Blossom, but then draw and discard power if we already had the plant monsters, using this quick play spell to do so. The 2 copies of Basil Rose Shoot. Use special summon 1 Rose Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard in defense, and if this card that was set is destroyed, you can target 1 of your Black Rose monsters, a dragon, or monster that mentions it that is banished in your graveyard, and special summon it. So then using this as additional setup if it was to be destroyed, to then summon out Black Rose Dragon to the field afterwards. And then the 1-ofs include 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Call by the Grave, and 1 Monster Reborn. Just all answers for more consistency and setup to use with our plant monsters, and special summoning back our monsters from the graveyard as well. And then our traps just being the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just additional hand traps to run along with the Ash Blossom and the Ghost Ogres in the main deck. For the extra deck, we're running 1 copy of the new Bramble Rose Dragon, needing 1 plant tuner and 1 non-tuner monster. So needing the plant tuner can easily be done just for the fact that Black Rose Garden changes all of our monsters on the field to plants. And then each time your opponent activates a monster effect, inflict 600 damage to your opponent. And if you do, all monsters your opponent controls currently lose 600 attack. You can only use each of the following effects of Bramble Rose Dragon once per turn. During the main phase quick effect, you contribute this card to special summon 1 Black Rose Dragon from your extract and is treated as a synchro summon. And you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a level 4 lower plant tuner from your graveyard. So being able to treat the synchro summon of Black Rose Dragon can just have us get Bramble Rose Dragon out when we need it to then destroy our opponent's cards, activating a Black Rose Dragon for the tribute during the main phase to then react on our opponent's turn with Black Rose Dragon as well. 2 copies of the said monster with its destruction effect, and then the added option to banish a plant monster. Targeting a defense monster on the field, change it to face-up attack and make its attack become 0, so then this monster can swing into that monster all the easier. 1 Moonlight Dragon along with the 1 Ruddy Rose Dragon for the banish and bounce power that both of them provide to the deck also. And then 2 of the new Rage Rose Witch, a level 6 monster. Plant monster you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Rage Rose Witch once per turn. If it's synchro summon, you can send up to 1 plant monster each from your deck and extract to the graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon from the extract for the rest of this turn except synchro monsters. If a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, giving you another resource to then just be able to summon back out onto the field in the form of this level 6 plant monster. And then the additional synchros being 1 Garden Rose Flora, 1 FA Dawn Dragster, 1 Crimson Dragon, 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, 1 Psyframe Lord Omega, and then also 1 Herald of the Arclight and 1 Bysteel Dispatter, with the only link monster we run being the 1 Cross Rose Dragon for the added link option. You need 2 monsters with different types. So while you can't normally summon out with Black Rose Garden on the field since it makes all your monsters plant, it's just another option to be able to rely on for the tribute of this monster or plant monster to summon a Rose Synchro monster from your extra deck using the additional setup of monsters that may be different levels to do so. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, having the Black Rose Garden for the search of a Rose Dragon. Comes in handy just for the fact to have the setup of another monster. So depending on the Rose Dragon you have additionally in your hand will determine your plays. You activate your Black Rose Garden and then add a Rose Dragon from your deck to your hand. So then you can add Red Rose Dragon using White Rose Dragon as the summon to then special summon out the additional monster from your hand, and then having the additional search of another card as well. You can then go for the synchro play. Since your monsters are plant, you can use the two of them to summon out your Bramble Rose Dragon to the field, and then have the search of Frozen Rose off of your Red Rose Dragon afterwards as well, and then being able to use the effect of White Rose Dragon if it's sent to the graveyard synchro material to send a level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to the graveyard. So then you can use this card to send your Vengeful Witch to the graveyard as well for the play and setup to use later on, having your Frozen Rose also, and then the use of your burn damage with Bramble Rose Dragon, as well as the additional burn damage it provides every time your opponent resolves a monster effect. You can use it for the tribute to summon out your Black Rose Dragon, using it to destroy every other card on the field. It'll destroy the Black Rose Garden, which will then in turn burn your opponent for 2400 damage on top of all the damage you've been burning with Bramble Rose Dragon. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. This is definitely an awesome deck with new added support to use with all of the original Black Rose Dragon support on top of its many forms we now have in the deck also. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.